Hey there, thanks for tuning into Duckbricks. I'm Chris, and let's take a look at one of the more controversial Ninjago sets that just released. This is Arin's off-road buggy. It's a really cool vehicle, it is a lot of fun to play with, it's got good play features, but it's about double the price it should be. This is unfortunately one of the most overpriced LEGO Ninjago sets ever, and I want to dive in to see, are there any redeeming qualities that make it worth the price, or should you wait for a discount on this one? Let's dive into the review right now. Okay, so this is Arin's Ninja Off-Road Buggy Car, set number 71811. This retails for 45 British pounds, 50 US dollars, 50 euros, and comes with 267 pieces, putting it at around an 18.7 cent price per part ratio. Now, at first glance, you might be thinking, why on earth is this $50? And I'm going to be honest, if you expect that question to be answered in this review, if you expect your lingering, pondering thoughts to be resolved, unfortunately this is not the review for you, because I do not have an answer as to why this is $50. I have an answer as to why maybe you can make the argument this should be $30. I have a fairly decent answer as to why I think that maybe you could make the argument that this should be $35. I have a slightly less convincing answer, and will be labeled a shill if I try to argue for it to be called $40. $50 though, I got nothing. I really do not. It is baffling, it is very strange, and we'll be getting back to that later on in the review. However, most of the conversation I've seen around this set has been focused on the price, and people complaining about the price, and folks saying it's egregious, and it's incredibly expensive, Ninjago's version of the Hoopty from the Marvels, or the X-Men jet, and to that I say, I agree, please rag on this set for being expensive. But the point of the review is to look at the set holistically, and so we're going to take the $50 price tag, we're going to put it in a box, and we're going to close the box, and we're not going to open that until the end of the review, because I feel like I can't give this a good review without ignoring the price, and maybe that's not fair for folks just wanting maybe you do want the price to be factored into the whole review, but I do feel that LEGO models should be judged on their own merit. The playability, the aesthetics, how good the set is should be judged on the build, and how much fun it is to play with, not on the price, and we'll get back to the price at the end of the review, but I just want to get it out there. If you were expecting to be changed, if your mind is expecting to be changed, and if you're thinking that you will walk away from this review saying, wow, that's a great deal, I'm gonna buy it at full price right now, I regret to inform you, this ain't that kind of review. What this review is, though, is we are going to take a very clear and holistic look at the model itself, ignoring price, and then we'll come back to price at the end. So we'll start off with the model, and again, completely ignoring price. This is Arin's Ninja Off-Road Buggy Car. And we'll also ignore the extremely long and convoluted set name. Now, at first glance, this is actually a set that really excited me, because Arin, being one of the main new characters for the Dragons Rising Season 1 and 2 team, hasn't really gotten a set dedicated to a build of his own yet. He was part of the Lloyd and Arin's Ninja Combo Mechs, and I guess he did get a Rising Dragon Strike set, but he hasn't really ever gotten a full-on, regular retail set focused on a vehicle that is purely his. We have a 4+ set that's an Arin mech, but that one is fairly simple, and it is a 4+ set. And the other Arin mech is part of a combo with a much larger Lloyd mech, and this is really the first time we are getting a full-on vehicle for one of the main characters from the new Ninja cast. And I really like it. This is actually a ton of fun to play with. You have built-in suspension on the back of the car, you have these giant wheels so it can roll over any sort of terrain, you have a very strong and striking color scheme where you've got these heat orange or flame yellowish orange panels on the side, of course hinting at his main ninja suit color, but you also have a good healthy splattering of dark blue. In fact, there's a lot of dark blue factored into it, which kind of pays homage to the dark blue jeans that he wore when he was first starting off as a ninja. Somewhat inexplicably, there's also a lot of purple in this set, and that's the one thing I can't really explain. It's kind of strange to me how much purple there is factored into the set, where to the point where it wasn't like a mistake. Like, clearly it was meant to be an intentional highlight color, except for the fact that maybe these particular Technic pieces that they use to attach the wheels don't come in other colors that fit the set other than purple, so that might just be a use of LEGO's colorations just not being exactly accurate. I have not personally gotten a chance to look into if these parts come in dark blue or heat orange, but I would guess they probably don't. And the purple might just be because they used those sets there, and because of that, it does detract a little bit from the color scheme, but you can also see it as maybe a little bit of highlight color, so it's not that big of a deal, but it is a little bit strange how much it stands out. Now, moving onwards to the bottom of the model, you may notice that it is utilizing these two brand new Motoro Mari Bionicle-inspired hook pieces, and I did not make that up. The set designer actually said that these hooks are meant to be mimicking the Bionicle Motoro Mari hooks, and the entire function of the set is you remove these hooks here, and you can use it as a climbing vehicle. So this literally is meant to be a climber vehicle, much like many of the other vehicles in the wave. So you pick it up by the chain and you can kind of dangle it, although here's the thing. Kai's Ninja Climbing Mech is a set that has a very similar function in that you have these hooks and you're supposed to be using it as a really cool climbing feature, and it works because it's such a sturdy connection. This, on the other hand, is attached by a single clip and does come out pretty easily. So I will say that if you are trying to do any crazy climbing stunts with the set itself, I wouldn't recommend holding it with just the hooks for a long period of time, because this hinge is not going to be enough to keep it afloat, and I'm just being very, very gentle with it. You can't really shake it around or else the entire thing is going to fall. So it's a little bit strange how the entire function of the car isn't more solidly built in. There was a really easy way to do it, and that was just to put this chain underneath this dark blue piece, but I don't know, for whatever reason they wanted to make it detachable, and it is what it is. Now, the one cool thing is that you can also use the hook in all sorts of different ways. So let's say you're in a street race with another car, you can use it to swing around, kind of acts like a weapon, so that's a lot of fun actually. Like, imagine you're driving, you do a drift, and you just swing this weapon around and it pops the tires of another vehicle. That's a lot of fun to just imagine playing with, so I feel like there's more stuff that you can do with the weapon itself, but otherwise it mostly just stows away underneath the vehicle. Now, there is suspension on the back, where you can see back there. They are utilizing this gold LEGO Technic element with a spring incorporated into the build, which is a very nice piece. They recolored it specifically for some LEGO Technic motorcycles, and it's cool to see that appear in sets outside of LEGO Technic. And on the front here, it does feel like a bit of a missed opportunity to have the wheels on these large kind of forward raking pieces, but not have them be factored into any suspension. Like, they're just pretty much solidly fixed. So it is a little bit disappointing to see that. They are using the red joints instead of the black joints for the Mixel or mini ball joints to attach the cockpit, which also feels a little bit incongruent with the color scheme, but again, given the age range for the model, they wanted to make this as easy as possible for kids to put together, so they made those red instead of black. And the cockpit opens up and you can actually seat two characters inside, because they are using my beloved Speed Champions base, where you can actually sit two minifigures side by side inside the same car. So that's nice to see, and I always like it when they do stuff like that for ninja focused vehicles, because it feels just a little bit more interesting than standard vehicles. Otherwise, I'm gonna be honest, there's not a lot else that you can do with the set. You have these multi-stud shooters on the top here where you press on the back and a ton of studs will launch out, which are always a lot of fun. Not the most riveting feature, but it does have that amount of extra play to it, and this is admittedly very sturdy. You can drive this over crazy terrain. It is using the gigantic wheels that they used for the Diesel Knot all the way back in Ninjago Hunted, as well as Kai's Golden Dragon Raiders, so this is a sturdy vehicle. You can be rough with it. You can roll it around in rough terrain, drop it, play around with it, and it's gonna stay together, and it's just a good toy. Like, this makes for a really fun and dynamic toy. The set also comes with 4 minifigures, which we'll take a look at in a second here, as well as Ryu the baby dragon, which is interesting because obviously Ryu has grown up already in this season, but maybe he'll start as a baby, and could there be a time skip, I don't know, where he grows up? We'll have to wait and see. At the time I'm recording this video, the season is not out yet. But the set does come with one exclusive minifigure, and that is Climber Cole here. Now, I'll be talking in detail about all of the minifigures when we get to our minifigure focused video, but for now, I just want to say I do really like Climber Cole in particular. I feel like the color scheme is really solid here, mostly because they did just go with black for the armor color. The dual molded armor is so good. Just one major con, And that's that you can't rotate the heads, you can't make the ninja look around, the mask is built into the armor, and I don't really know why they did that, because that feels like a major downside to me. It is what it is though, I do like the minifigure, it's a good one to have, and I'm excited to see the climber suits in show because I feel like they're going to look even cooler in the show. Arin, unfortunately, is completely unchanged from his Season 1 counterpart. I believe we'll be getting a new Arin suit, hopefully this summer in the tournament wave, but as of right now, they chose not to give the new characters Arin and Sora new suits, which is pretty disappointing, I will say. I did like his design for Season 1 of Dragon's Rising, and he does come with a new hook weapon, but overall, just getting the same minifigure that we've gotten in the older sets is not super exciting. Cinder, one of the generals for Raz's army and the new Elemental Master of Smoke, appears in the set, and he is very cool looking, one of my favorite villain minifigures in a long time, featuring a transparent black head with a great dual-sided expression, and, for the first time in the March wave, this beautifully dual-molded blood sword with transparent red and gunmetal gray detailing. This looks so cool, and I'm a big fan of this sword element. Lastly, it comes with one of the Wolf Mask Warriors here, which we've taken a very extensive look at when we took a look at all of these sets in the January wave, but you can see what all the details look like right there for this character. And of course, Ryu the baby dragon is completely unchanged from his prior appearances, but he's a really great little baby dragon to get, and I do really love the amount of detail and design they put into making this creature. And altogether, that's pretty much all there is to see with Arin's Ninja, Off-Road, Buggy, Car. That is absolutely a name intended to be designed for peak search engine optimization, which I find to be very funny. But it is, all in all, a good set. It's a lot of fun to play with. The color scheme, for the most part, besides some oddities like the purple and the red, is a really solid color scheme, and I just like in general that we are getting more sets for Arin and sets focused on the new characters, because they really need those to survive and really grow in the minds of kids. So this, altogether, is really sturdy, has a great color scheme, and it's a lot of fun to play with, and I really genuinely like the build. With that out of the way though, I do need to talk about value, and again, as I said at the start of the video, $50 is crazy. Out of your mind. What are they doing for this? And here, listen, there are some arguments that could be made as to why it should be maybe a little bit higher than the piece count would suggest, right? You've got around 260 pieces, but 4 of those pieces are gigantic tires, which are more expensive to make. 4 more of those pieces are gigantic wheels, some of which are recolored in new colors for the first time, so those definitely ate up some of the budget for the set itself. Some of these pieces are large Technic panels, which are molded in dark blues, so those are harder to come by and larger pieces to include. One of the pieces is this large windscreen in the transparent orange Mars mission color. You also have these 2 brand new hook elements included in the set, so that definitely ate up a lot of budget. You have this very expensive to produce dual cast Technic element with a spring for suspension in gold and black, so that's another expensive piece to put in the set. And you do have one exclusive minifigure with a dual molded armor component, which normally I would say is something that would really elevate the set, other than they almost kind of spoiled us and gave us 6 different dual molded colors for the ninja, and one set later this wave has 3 of them unique, so I'm not even convinced that the budget was like necessarily this is allocated per set versus just a minifigure budget in general. So the set itself, right? Size, for being very playable, 30-35. I can see 30-35. You know, that's reasonable for this set, and I feel like that is a fair price to pay. Realistically, I can see LEGO charging 40. I think 40 is high, and I think 40 is a little unreasonable for what you get, but you know, if this was 40, I don't think people would have complained that much. I think people would have said, it's a little too expensive for me, and just moved on. But everybody is talking about this set because it's 50, not 45, not 48, not 43, 50 US dollars, and I don't get it. I'm genuinely very confused as to why this set is that expensive. If folks have ideas in the comments as to why LEGO decided to charge so much for this, do let me know. If they were worried that Arin focus sets would not sell well and they had to make it more expensive to make back its money, I mean, maybe, but then you're just setting yourself up for failure, because if you think Arin sets don't sell well, and you put out one that costs like $20 more than it should, then it's probably not going to sell that well, and then you're kind of in a self-fulfilling prophecy, you know? So, it is what it is. I personally wish that this was a lot cheaper, and yeah, you get 4 minifigures and an animal and a lot of big pieces, but I'm just not seeing 50. There's only so many ways I can say it without this video becoming repetitive, so that's pretty much all I have to say about this build. Unfortunately, wait for a sale, and let me know what you think if you agree or disagree. Alright, and with that we have summed up my thoughts on Arin's off-road buggy. It's a fun vehicle, it's a lot of fun to play around with, it's got good features, but again, that price is just something I can't really justify. It's kind of similar to the X-Men jet that we just got, or the Hoopty from the Marvels. So I don't know really what LEGO's doing with the prices, and hopefully this doesn't send the wrong message to LEGO that we don't want Arin sets, because we really do. I think it's a really cool color scheme, and I want to see more from Arin, just not quite at this price per part ratio. That's all for this review. Thank you all so much for tuning in. Be sure to like and subscribe for even more LEGO news, reviews, discussion, and analyses coming your way very soon, and bye for now.